Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to finish this up. We only got about 10 minutes left. We talked about a lot of stuff. I don't know about you, but I'm worn out. I'm kind of getting ramped up though, because you've said some stuff, or at least you've expressed the views of people that have say this kind of stuff, that it just, to me, if you're going to be a country and espouse equal opportunity and all the rest of it, and then turn around and say, look, this is something that happened, but you should really know that only a few white folks owned slaves. I mean, isn't that kind of papering over it a little bit? I'm not papering over it, but that's revisionist history that we're dealing with. It doesn't matter. Shows that everybody owns slaves. No, that's not. Giant plantations everywhere. Gone with the Wind is a good example. That's not. Right? That's not what I'm talking about. The bottom line is don't get me wrong. I'm not for slavery. No, of course not. But the bottom line is you're crucifying an entire people for something that their government did. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that only a third or a quarter or whatever of all the whites that ever lived in the South and during the 4.8%, 400 or whatever it is, for 400 years of slavery in North America, doesn't matter. It doesn't, does it? Because the moral principle that was expressed and then codified in the 13th Amendment is that we don't tolerate it. Now, we were going to say how that didn't kill slavery, obviously. What we did as a country, because we are much better at not dealing with stuff than we are dealing with stuff, is we exported it. Our African-American slaves that we had in this country became free people, but we still needed that cheap labor. We still needed the cheap goods that cheap labor gets us. And so what we did is we exported the need for human capital to Asia, to Africa, to India, to any developing country we could find. You've got little kids still, child labor, same kind of thing. We got rid of child labor in this country in the early 20th century. All we did was we exported it. We're still buying stuff that slaves and kids make. We still are. I probably am wearing something that a child made for free. I probably am. You probably are too. That's the outrage. Along with and concomitant to the outrage of 9 innocent people being murdered in their church, their sanctuary, where they were going to pray and learn more about their faith, the outrage is we're still complicit in this whole thing. We've been complicit in it forever. And that's true. And this is not an anti-American speech, by the way. This is real. This is happening. Well, part of it, there's 2 points I want to make. The first one is when we start talking about the Confederate flag and what it stood for and everything else. Yep. Do we apply the same logic to the American flag? Because look at what that represents. I know. To the Native Americans, that's not a happy thing. I know. Our founding fathers were all slave owners. Not all of them, but I mean, vast majority. Our first president lionized them. Yeah, I know. So the bottom line is when you're focusing on this flag, you're focusing on the wrong issue. The second point I want to make is a lot of times slaves don't understand that they're slaves. And that's the truth. There's 2 points about this. Remember that girl from wherever she was living in a garage, and everybody got upset over here because she was living in a garage. Because her adoptive parents or whatever, she was a servant in their home. Oh, yeah, I don't remember. And so anyway, that happened. They interviewed the girl's actual parents back in Egypt, and they're like, holy cow, she's living in a garage. She's made it, right? And the second thing is I'm talking to a person, and she's discussing how difficult it is to leave the business of stripping. Mm-hmm. And she lets me know that she's stuck in Miami and can't make it home. And I'm like, what are you doing in Miami? Well, these friends convinced me to come down here because I can make more money on the pole down here. Well, congratulations. You've now been trafficked. Yep. And now you're a slave. Yep. And the problem is we're
as human beings, we're so used to enslaving each other somehow that I think it's going to be very difficult for everybody to break free, because there's all kinds of slavery. And I'm just going to throw out my Christian thing. The Bible talks a lot about how not to be a slave in the Bible. There's a lot of different ways. And of course, there's a lot of people that would say, well, as a Christian, you're a slave to God. Yeah, that's probably, a way to look at it. But the bottom line is, slavery really is so ubiquitous. And I agree. We're shipping our low-paying jobs over to China where they pay slave wages.
Yep.
Because it's cheaper to ship the material over there, have them make it, and ship it back rather than have somebody here make it. Now, one thing, the wag the dog moment I've been talking about.
Yep.
TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, is a BS bill supported wholeheartedly by the Republicans, and they are doing exactly to the American people what Obama and his allies did to us with Obamacare. Secretive, backroom deals, nobody talking about it, and the entire hardcore left is up in arms about it. And I think when we're sitting here talking about the Confederate flag, and that's what's on the news, and they're asking the presidential candidates all about that, they're asking the wrong question. One, whether you fly your Confederate flag over the state capitol is a state issue, in my opinion. And number two, the more important issue is this is just another form of slavery. Now that you've defined what it is, all this TPP is another form of slavery. We're going to up more markets that are even cheaper, Myanmar of all things, and we're going to be doing that. So why in the world are we being distracted by this flag? Well, yesterday or today, and I can't remember which, TPP was passed by the Senate and crossed the most difficult hurdle. Now it's just downhill for the president's signature, and nobody still knows what's in that, right? Nobody. People that voted for it don't know what's in it. People who voted against it don't know what's for it. That's what I think this whole Confederate flag wag the dog issue is. What do you think? Think I'm off base with that?
You mean that it's deliberate?
Yeah, I think it's deliberate.
No.
I think it's deliberate by the media.
It's not. It's not, because the media doesn't. The media loved that Nancy Pelosi handed the president a loss. They loved it. They ate it up. And then 9 black folks got shot in Charleston, and it reignited a bunch of old arguments and a bunch of old things, and the predictable people took their predictable positions, and all of a sudden you got the Confederate flag. And like we have been saying throughout this whole show, it is the problem of slavery and racism is this psychological the psychological ease of hatred, and then and I guess the psychological ease of greed is just, it's so difficult to wrap around, because you're right. The point that you made, you're absolutely right. We're all of us unclean. All of us are somehow complicit because we don't, and mainly out of ignorance. Yeah. I've never been to a sweatshop. No. I don't know that I'd be able to tolerate wearing something that I saw a little kid with bloody fingers make. In fact, I know I wouldn't be able to, but I don't. But true. I live here blissfully ignorant, and that is a disturbing thought to end the show on. So maybe we should think of something a little happier. I don't know.
Well, you're going to be playing tomorrow night.
I am playing tomorrow night. Yes, please, everybody, come to Blue Moon. It's great. It is now. I think that I sound adequate everywhere. Okay, but at Blue Moon, the system that they've got set up at Blue Moon is so great that it really makes me sound professional. So I
would just go with super adequate.
Oh, supadequate. Something like that. Yeah. So Blue Moon 8 to 11. There are drink specials all night in case you like to do that. I will take your requests. I know about 8 songs, so if you know those same 8 songs, I'll be able to play
sing along
all of them. But right. That's the story.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Want to thank Maddie for doing our producing. Want to thank all of our sponsors: Petrosian Associates, Lubinas Law Firm, Halo Capital, and Des Moines Anesthesia. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and go give us a good review at Yelp. That's something new. I figured we might as well start talking about. And we're going to have new blogs up this week on Doc and Lefty. Some by Lefty, some by me, and a couple by a guest. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Hi, I'm Representative Tom Shaw, and I love these guys. Both of them.
Love these guys. Get over here. Get over here. Love both of them.